The sea is old, far older than the land. It holds secrets that men have long forgotten. It whispers to those who listen, sings to those who dream, and punishes those who offend its children. Deep in the coastal town of Umbaraka, where the waves kiss the shores with eternal longing, a mystery unfolded, one that would shake the very foundation of the town's beliefs. Her name was Adama, and she was no ordinary girl. Adama was different. Even as a child, people knew there was something strange about her. Her skin had a faint shimmer, as if kissed by the ocean itself. Her hair was dark and silky, but in certain lights, streaks of gold ran through it like threads of the sun. Her eyes, deep and mysterious, carried a sadness no one could understand. And then there was the scent. She always smelled like the sea, like fresh salt water and something else, something ancient. It didn't matter where she was. Even in the heat of the classroom, she carried the unmistakable scent of the ocean. The townspeople whispered. Some claimed she was cursed. Others said she was a spirit, a child of the sea. But no one dared to say it to her face, except for Madame Funmi. Madame Funmi was a legend in Mimbarika High School. She was known for her strictness, her discipline, and her unshakable belief that success came only to those who worked hard. She had no patience for laziness, no tolerance for disrespect, and absolutely no sympathy for students who failed to meet her standards. To her, Adama was an enigma, a girl who barely spoke, rarely smiled, and never seemed to fully engage in class. Madame Funmi saw her as nothing more than an arrogant, lazy child who thought she was too special to obey rules. And in Madame Funmi's world, no student was above discipline. She had punished Adama before, small punishments, subtle warnings, but none of them seemed to affect the girl. Adama never cried, never protested, never showed any sign of discomfort, and that infuriated Madame Funmi. One fateful afternoon, Madame Funmi entered the classroom, her sharp eyes scanning the students. She had given them an assignment the previous day, and now it was time to collect. One by one, the students brought their papers forward, but when she called Adama's name, there was silence. The room tensed. Adama! Madame Funmi called again, her voice sharper this time. Where is your assignment? Adama slowly lifted her head. I didn't do it. The words were calm, almost indifferent. A few students gasped. Madame Funmi's eyes darkened. You didn't do it, she echoed. And you think that's acceptable? Adama didn't answer. The teacher's lips curled into a sneer. Stand up. Adama stood. Get out, Madame Funmi ordered. Go to the schoolyard and kneel. Still no reaction, no fear, no protest. Adama simply picked up her books, walked to the door, and stepped outside. Madame Funmi clenched her fists. Something about the girl's composure made her furious. She wanted to break her, to make her feel something. She stormed after her. Raise your hands, she snapped. Adama obeyed. Stay there until I say otherwise, Madame Funmi added. Maybe the sun will teach you respect. Then she walked back into the classroom, slamming the door behind her. But something strange was happening outside. The sun had been blazing all day, hot and merciless. But the moment Adama knelt, the sky began to change. The wind picked up, cool and strong. The bright blue sky darkened, heavy clouds rolling in like an advancing army. The air smelled of rain, thick and heavy. Then the first bolt of lightning struck. It was loud, splitting the sky with a sound so fierce that students jumped in their seats. Madame Funmi frowned. A storm? But there was no warning of rain today. The wind howled louder, rattling the classroom windows. The sky, now an unnatural shade of gray, churned with fury. And then, the scream. The students rushed to the windows. What they saw would haunt them forever. Adama was no longer kneeling. She was floating. Her legs were gone, replaced by a long, shimmering green tail that glowed in the storm's eerie light. Her arms stretched, her nails lengthening into sharp claws. Her hair, now wild and golden, whipped around her like living fire. Her eyes, once human, were now pure blue, glowing like the depths of the ocean. And in her hand, she held a staff, golden and radiant, pulsing with energy. She was no longer Adama. She was something else, something ancient, something powerful. The storm raged around her, waves crashing against the school walls. The wind screamed, carrying voices from the depths of the sea. And then she turned to Madame Funmi. Madame Funmi had never known fear like this. She took a step back, then another. Then she ran. She bolted through the hallways, her heartbeat pounding in her ears. Behind her, the storm followed, winds tearing through doors, windows shattering with force. Adama soared after her, her massive tail leaving a trail of seawater. Madame Funmi tripped, fell, scrambled to her feet. "Please!" she screamed. "Please, I didn't know!" But Adama didn't stop. Lightning struck the ground beside her, sending sparks flying. The ocean's roar grew deafening. Madame Funmi ran faster, pushing through the doors, sprinting across the schoolyard. But the ocean was already there. The land beneath her feet turned to water. She stumbled, her breath coming in gasps. And then Adama was in front of her. Madame Funmi collapsed to her knees, trembling. I didn't know," she whispered. "I didn't know who you were." Adama stared at her for a long moment. Then she lifted her staff. The storm stopped. The ocean retreated. And in the silence, Adama spoke. "Never judge what you do not understand," she said. And then she was gone. The schoolyard was dry. The sky was clear. The ocean was calm. But Madame Funmi was never the same. Madame Funmi resigned the next day. She never spoke of what happened, never told a soul about the girl with the ocean's eyes. And Adama? She was never seen again. But sometimes on stormy nights, when the wind howls and the waves crash against the shore, the townspeople whisper that the daughter of the sea is watching, and she never forgets. The moral lesson of this story is that we should be careful who you offend. Some people walk among us carrying the power of the gods, and the ocean never forgives.